Hey, what's going on? This is the Knicks State of Mind podcast. I'm your host, Quis, joined as always by my co-host, Inf. Inf,
Was
bro, how's everything with you?
good, getting real hot in this suit, but I am a man of my word.
Yes,
That-
if you're not aware, Inf lost the bet last week. We had our show Saturday at 8. And in the bet, he bet that the 76ers were going to win. And I bet that I bet the 76ers were going to win. And he bet that the Knicks were going to win. And he lost. The Knicks lost that game, unfortunately. One of the games, the refs cheated us. And now, unfortunately for him, he's got to bake in that suit tonight.
I'm a man of my word. Listen, I make a bet, I stick to it, even though the
So,
Knicks were robbed that game.
but if how's everything with you right now? You good? Outside of the heat in that suit.
No, I mean I'm good. You know what? Knicks, we just beat the Bucks. Granted, they were shorthanded, we were shorthanded, but you know what? Anytime we're doing this call after a win, it's always a good feeling.
Yeah, definitely. But unfortunately, we got to start the show talking about the elephant in the room, and that's Mitchell Robinson breaking his foot. Now, this is extremely unfortunate because Mitchell Robinson was just coming back from breaking his hand. And, this is not a good sign from Mitch. This is going to be a lost season. And I really thought this season was going to be a big developmental season for some of our young players. And to see him now be out for what's most likely the rest of the year, it's troublesome.
I mean, this is why I said trade this man at the deadline. I know Knicks fans wanted to crucify me for this, but he can't stay healthy. He hasn't stood healthy. He was just injured with a broken hand, and his value is still like he still has some value until he becomes a player who's league wide known as somebody who can't stay on the court, you know? And I
Hmm.
feel like an injury like this, breaking his foot as a big man with his height, this diminished his value. I feel like now, if we were to look for potential trades in the offseason, they're not going to give us nothing for him. And I'm pretty sure you saw the report where during the deadline, every team was calling the Knicks in regards to Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really showed us what the other teams were offering. So I can't say we should have made a move, but the fact that he's out now we're going to be shorthanded because if you look at the free agency market, the buyout market, these bigs are getting snatched up left and right. We've already seen Andre Drummond. He's going to the Lakers. Georgiou Dieng, who is the player I really wanted the Knicks to pursue,
Me too.
he's going to the Spurs. So
Yep.
we don't really have too many options right now in free agency. I dropped a video earlier. Thon Maker, there's the potential of him being signed on. We were talking before the show, Omari Spellman, but even Omari Spellman is his conditioning because you had mentioned like he didn't look in shape when he was with us to start this season. So I don't know what he would be or what he could look like right now, seeing that he hasn't played all year.
No, yeah, that he played for us like one game and he looked terrible out there. I think he ran up and down the court once and he was winded. Like, I mean, he needed a cup of water winded. So if he ain't lose at least 10 pounds, there's no way I see us going for an Amari Spellman. He better not. Thon Maker, he was one of those where when he was in high school, he was looking like the next Zion. Like he was about to come in and be a beast. He had handles, he had a jump shot, and then he got to the league and his game didn't transition. I mean, I don't know where he's at now. Maybe. I mean, maybe he can be a piece for us.
Yeah, him like just the same way you said it. We both got caught up with that hype train. We've all been on Instagram chilling, watching, looking at basketball highlights, and Thon Maker was one of those first plays I think that really started to bubble up in the social media wave. And
Mhm.
he got on my radar, and I was like, "Yo, the Knicks should go out and get him." And I don't remember exactly where he went, but he kind of fell in the draft, and he really hasn't amounted to much. And I think he caused the stink. He got originally drafted to the Bucks. He wasn't happy with his playing time, and they ended up moving him. And he's done pretty much nothing. So could he be a piece that's used as a rotational piece here and there? I think he could be, but I wouldn't expect big or major minutes from him. He's not going to be a difference maker. I think right now there's no real difference makers out there. We just have to find somebody that's going to eat up some minutes, take 6 fouls, and play some decent defense in the center of our team.
No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, because right now we have Taj Gibson, who's more of a power forward than a center in my position, just because when he's out there trying to defend centers who are bigger than him, it looks terrible. So maybe a player like Thon Maker, who's 7 feet and who's younger, he can try to keep up with these centers. Shout out to the group chat, Will Salkin, Kevin Taylor. Kevin saying we were not going to trade Mitchell Robinson anyway. Why would you trade somebody you were paying a dime on the dollar for? I mean, honestly, I would have traded Mitch for a first-round pick, and I feel like that's what his value was. And it's because of this. Like he has, like I mentioned throughout most of our wins up into the halftime mark, we haven't missed him. You know, his presence of him not being there hasn't been felt, and so I felt like at this point, with Noel playing the way that he's been playing, and my thinking of us potentially getting a big man by the trade deadline, we could have eventually, you know, we could have been fine with getting a first round pick and a regular player for Mitch. But now we're stuck with Mitch, and hopefully he can come back from that injury. But as a big man who's 7 feet, and me and Keith, we went to the Knick game last Tuesday, and we were just talking about the way that Mitch, the way he walks, the way he is, everything is just so awkward. So I don't know how a big man with his size is gonna recover from a broken foot.
I mean, one positive we can look at that when it comes to big men recovering from having broken feet or a broken foot is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, when he came into the league, he had issues with his feet. And
Yeah,
luckily for them, we really haven't seen any other issues kind of pop up. So
yeah,
that's one template we can kind of look at. Kevin Durant, he's another player. He broke his foot in OKC, and he's had some other ailments here and there. You know, he's been out with the Achilles and things. He's out now, but
yeah.
at least for the most part, none of those stem from the surgery he had on his foot or him fracturing his foot. So that gives me a little bit of hope when it comes to looking at Mitchell Robinson long term. I just think this makes it a little bit trickier when it comes to his contract situation, seeing that he'll be up for an extension. And right now, you don't want to extend a player who's had this kind of injury history. And if we're not going to extend him, you're definitely going to hear, trade talks pop up about moving him and at least getting something for him. Because, there's been some rocky moments between Mitch and the Knicks in the past. So who knows if this is really the place he wants to come home. He's originally from New Orleans. He
Mhm.
may not like New York City. I'm not saying he doesn't. I don't follow him like that, but we don't know where he is in terms of his affection for the city. So maybe like what you're saying is true. Maybe they do end up deciding to look and move on from him. But I think if he's fully healthy, he's definitely a disruptive force for us. So I would definitely like to wait it out, see how he is when he returns, and then make any decisions from at that point. Because I don't think the Knicks are going to make any kind of crazy moves. They kind of stayed silent for the most part because even the trade that they did make at the trade deadline, they ended up cutting both players they acquired. So I
Yeah.
think they're content with what we have now, and it's going to be a rocky road for Mitchell Robinson upcoming, but I think he'll be able to make his way back.
No, well, I mean, he doesn't have a choice. He has to. Like he has to come back. But again, I think he is out for the whole season. I think, I mean,
Definitely.
we don't have that many games left anyway.
Well, that's if we don't make it to the playoffs. I'm expecting us to make it to the playoffs. We've been playing pretty good up till now. So I think we have a lot more games, a lot more months ahead of us.
No, I mean, as far as like we're more than halfway done with the season.
Hmm.
So I don't see him coming. Even if we make the playoffs, even if we get to the second or third round, like I don't see him coming back in time to play. Which sucks because this potentially could have been his first playoff experience.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully he at least rides with the team and gets to see the atmosphere and what the crowds are like if we do continue to make that playoff run. Which again, we just won 2-3 games in a row. Let's go Knicks.
Yeah. Beat the Wizards twice, and we
Yes,
just beat the Bucks. Trying to extend it against the Heat tomorrow, and the Heat are going to be without Victor Oladipo too, so that's looking good for us right there.
yes, it is. And
He's
they just
always ducking and dodging us.
and
Second time.
what actually got me, I wanted to touch on real quick. What got me hyped was that second Wizards game. We were down by 17 and came back to win. That's something that the Knicks have not really done. When we are down by like 15 plus, we notice that the team just kind of gives up. So the fact that we came back from 17, like this is a Knicks team that should make the playoffs.
Well, you know why we came back? We were going against Brickbrook.
But still, to be down that much and not give up, like I like that mentality.
Brick Brooks about to shoot a brick. That's all we were chanting halfway through the game on Tuesday. Just want to say shout out to the chat, all our wise. Thank you for pulling up. You're always here to chop it up with us on the weekend. Definitely appreciate the support. OG Stewart, you're on a lot of my edited videos as well with some very good insight. Thank you for pulling up and supporting the channel. Let me see. Well, we better hurry up and do something quick. Get somebody to replace Robinson because it don't look good right now because you know Robinson's out for the whole year. I think one thing people aren't saying is we do have some options in the G League. If some of you remember earlier this year, I made a video talking about Skal Labissiere. He's a Haitian player that's currently in the G League with the Westchester Knicks for us. I don't even know if the Westchester Knicks season is still ongoing. I got to double check that because they already moved Powell. He went over to the Bucks, but Skal, he's an option for us at center. Previously played for the Kings. He was highly recruited out of high school, and things haven't panned out for him so far, but he is an option in the G League. And Inf, do you remember Festus Ezeli?
I do remember from Golden State.
From Golden State, yes. He's dealt with a lot of injuries over his career, which has forced him to kind of remove himself from basketball. You've seen him a lot on a lot of sports channels and where he's been giving his insight on basketball. And the Knicks, we brought him in, and he's currently he's currently signed to the Westchester Knicks. So he's another option we could try to bring up and see if he could actually play for us. He was, a decent piece over in Golden State. He helped them win a championship. So that's another option. Those are two internal options we have.
Yep. And then as for external ones, I mean, like you mentioned, Thon Maker. Also, one of the names that I saw floating around is Demarcus Cousins. I mean, I'd be fine with him. He's clearly a starting caliber center. He's not the man he was 4 years ago, but he's still able to start, and he's a center who can knock down the three when he needs to. I'm pretty sure this guy is done being an NBA player because of the NBA, but Miles Leonard is also a center who's available.
Yeah, I really do not think the Knicks are going to reach out to him. That's a big negative. Yeah, his career in the NBA is over.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Howard Price, shout out Howard Price. He said is Hassan Whiteside a possibility? I think he's currently under contract for a team. I don't know what team, but I
think he's still on the Kings. They were talking about potential buyouts and him maybe going to the Lakers. Now that Andre Drummond is in fact going to the Lakers, if Whiteside is bought out, he could be a potential option. But it all depends on what happens with that scenario.
Yeah, because another buyout candidate I saw was Otto Porter Jr. and him potentially being tied to the Knicks for our starting small forward position as well. But again, you never know when it comes to these buyouts.
Yeah. Oh, they were really considering buying out Otto Porter. That one I didn't.
Yeah.
That one didn't cross my radar.
No, yeah, I saw it on Bleacher Report. Shout out LD25 was good.
Inf the Dawn. Shout out to Nudie. Thank you for pulling up. Just to repeat again, if you're unfamiliar with why Inf is kind of outshining me right now, he's dressed like Leon Rose and I'm dressed like Theo Pinson. He lost the bet, so he had to do the show in his work attire. If I would have lost, I'd have to do the show in scrubs. Luckily, I didn't lose though.
Word, I'm telling you, it's getting hot in this joint.
What you call it? Go ahead. What you saying?
No, I'm still looking because I have like some centers pulled up. I'm just not sure. I mean, because some of them are still under contract.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not too many options on the buyout market. This is why I really wanted them to pursue Dieng. If we would have known Mitch would have gone down, I would have liked to have seen what the Knicks could have done in the trade market just to see what this front office could have cooked up, because it would have been interesting. How are we going to go about trying to address losing our starting center? And we held on admirably, but that was us knowing that Mitch was coming back. Right now it's highly unlikely Mitch comes back. So yeah, it's put us in a real tough place since it's post trade deadline. But maybe maybe somebody clears. I don't know. We're really in a rough spot right now.
Really?
But like you said, we looked good without Mitch. What were we, like 7-3, seven? I think 7-3. I think without Mitch leading into the All-Star game. So
Yeah.
maybe we can pull it through.
Not yet. I mean, like I said, our options right now, Demarcus Cousins. I mean, I believe he already got the buyout from the Rockets. He's currently free agent. I mean, like I saw a report with him and the Lakers, which now they no longer need him because they got Drummond, and obviously the Nets don't need him because they got Aldridge and Blake and Jordan and all these other players. So, I mean, hopefully it's us.
Yeah. Boogie, I think I read earlier that he's going to the Heat. Maybe gonna go bandwagon Victor Oladipo, Jimmy Butler, and them boys over there.
Who's there starting? Oh, I guess if he wants to come off the bench.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if Boogie is legitimately a starting center in the league right now. To be honest with you, he's better suited, I think, off the bench. He dropped a hype video on the 26th on his Twitter. That was pretty dope. But then again, he's attacking people off the perimeter. I'm like, I don't want Boogie Cousins to come over here and be attacking people off the perimeter. That's Julius Randle's spot. Get out the way, grab some rebounds, and block some shots. And that's not blocking shots ain't really something Boogie is known for.
Or just get those putbacks.
Yeah, I think a lot of Knicks fans, we want like an offensive minded center, and I know at times the Knicks are bereft of any kind of scoring output, but I feel like we should be getting buckets from our point guard or our wings as opposed to trying to get a center that's going to occupy the paint and kind of clog things up for us as is. Right now, teams are throwing the little 2-3 zone on us. Do we want to have now Andre Drummond or a player of his ilk standing in the middle of the paint, making it even more congested? I'm not sure. Like Boogie, at least he has a threat of shooting. I just don't want him to attack from the perimeter. Stay in the paint and operate from there.
No, yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like Boogie is that center that if we go on a little shooting drought where we miss, our last 4 shots, he can get us the basket. He can post up. He has footwork. He has a couple good moves. So, I mean, hopefully we're able to make that happen. And I mean, his last couple contracts have been for the vet minimum. So if we can make that happen, we have the spots available. I think we currently have 3 roster spots open right now. So especially with us waiving the 2 players we just got today. So now, we're up to 3 open roster spots. So we don't know how they're going to fill them, but hopefully he is one of them.
Yeah. Kevin Taylor asked, what if they give Mitch a contract that is incentive, fully loaded, with games played? I'd still be hesitant to offer a contract to Mitch. I've read a stat saying that he still played 80% of the games with us, but like with this season, I'm completely kind of turned off when it comes to extending him. I dropped a video in the off season, kind of breaking down the different scenarios in which we could try to extend him. And right now, I'm like, no, we have to see what you can do and make sure you can stay on the court now before we're going to invest a large cap hit, because the salary cap right now is our biggest friend. We're extremely flexible. We're flush with draft picks, and right now with the way Mitch is looking when it comes to his health, he may be a trade piece. So I would not get into extending him right now. I'm wait and see approach.
Let me see. Louis Join said, we have to be patient. You're going to be extended. We just have to play out the rest of the season. I mean, we have to see. We have to see because, I mean, depending on what the offers are, because like I mentioned, there was reports that teams were calling the Knicks specifically for Mitchell during the deadline. Obviously, details of the calls wasn't explained, but teams want Mitch. So I'm pretty sure now with this next injury, if we get a first round pick or something, I'm pretty sure they're going to pull the trigger. And Freezy, I highly doubt Mitch with a broken foot would be back in time for playoffs if we make it, just because there's not that many games left in the regular season, and he broke his foot. He hasn't even had surgery yet.
Yeah, it's going to take some time for him to get back. I was kind of laughing because Kevin Taylor said, "Do you think San Antonio signed the 6'11" guy, which would be Dang, from the Timberwolves as a payback for the New York Knicks stealing Morris from them last year?"
That'd be
that would be crazy. That'd be funny as hell. That'd be good for Pop.
Because they don't even need him. Like, what are they signing players for anyway?
Well, they're still in their own playoff hunt.
Like, barely. You just gave up LaMarcus. For what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, D. Burr, thank you for pulling up. He's saying Boogie. I don't like Boogie. And then the reports are that Boogie is leaning toward Miami. It's going to be a crazy playoff push because you've got a bunch of, has-been talent kind of collecting in different areas of the country. You got a couple going to the Clippers and Lakers. You got a few going to the Nets. You got a few going to the Heat. It's going to be a fun playoff season. You got the Knicks still in the hunt. We still in the mix. Knicks is down. But it's going to be exciting, bro.
Finally. And OG Stewart, I believe they announced that Drummond signed with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. So there's no, I don't know if he signed officially, but he committed to the Lakers already. So that's that.
Yeah. Also, chat, do us a solid. It says 55, 56 people in the chat, but we only got 9 likes. Can you do us a solid and just make sure you smash that like button? Greatly appreciated. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, now would be a great time to do so.
And Rich Boy, one of the earlier in the chat, we spoke about Don Maker as a potential Knick candidate. We spoke about the hype that he had coming into the league, and then unfortunately didn't transition. But I'm willing to give him a shot and see, what he can do because he can shoot. I'm not so sure about his defense. I haven't watched enough games or enough film of him to know, but I know he can score if he needs to.
Yeah, Woodshed is saying we should sign either John Henson or Parker. I think right before we went on, I think they dropped that news that Parker was released. I like Parker coming in when he went to, I forgot what draft he was in.
It was in the one with Andrew Wiggins. I know that Andrew Wiggins
was Wiggins.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I liked him coming in, but then I think he tore his ACL once.
Yeah.
I think he tore it again. Did he? Or was it just the one ACL tear?
I know he tore it once his first year, and that was it.
Yeah, then he had a few more bouts with injuries. So
he had another big injury. I'm not sure what it was though. But
his injury concerns kind of throw me off. But for a league minimum to come off the bench, he's a talented big. He lost a lot of his athleticism after he got that injury because he attacked from the perimeter a lot more. He looks a lot slower the last time I saw him.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I watch a lot of Jabari Parker, but the last time I looked at him and I was like, "That's Jabari Parker." He looks slow as hell.
No, I mean, he surprised me because coming into the league, a lot of sports analysts compared him to Carmelo Anthony. So I'm expecting him to be like this offensive threat off rip, and he was not that even before then. So I don't know what to make of him because in my mind, I'll always have the Melo mentality, like, "Oh, this is the player that he should be compared to." Thanks. And when you make that comparison, this guy is awful. So
a lot of those player comparisons kind of do paint bad pictures for some of these young players coming in because you give them too much or the expectations are too high. Like you said, you were gonna be Carmelo Anthony. What are you doing?
Yeah, like you were not that, and you were the number 2 overall pick. Like what's going on?
Yeah, Kevin Taylor saying the G League is finished. Yeah, they wrapped up. I'm still mad we lost Miles Powell, yo. He would have been a nice piece.
Yeah.
Especially when Rose and them were out, Rose, Peyton were out.
Yeah. Parker plays no defense. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't.
That's another thing. When it comes to Tibbs, you got to make sure you're bringing in people that play solid D, and which I'm not going to act like that's a bad thing, but it kind of stops us from looking at certain players because we already know they're not going to be what Tibbs wants defensively. So it kind of decreases the player pool even more just because, Tibbs has his likes, his wants, and his needs.
Kylo Quinn, Kevin Taylor, Kylo Quinn, even if he comes back, I don't know if the Knicks would take him. I know when he left the Knicks initially, there was a lot of negative comments that he made regarding the organization. So I don't know because we know how petty the Knicks organization is. they don't let comments slide. So I don't think, even if he does return from overseas, I don't think the Knicks would look at him just because of the comments he made when he left.
I think the game we went to, they kicked somebody out. It was either the game we went to or the Thursday game against the Wizards. They kicked somebody out because they had a Van Dolan.
Yeah, it was the game after the second
Game
one.
after. Yeah. Luckily, when we went, it was uneventful.
Yeah, nothing crazy happened.
Yeah, Kyle dissed the Knicks. But I saw a tweet where he kind of sent us the eye emoji. So maybe he's upset. I mean, he's trying to rekindle that romance or something. But
maybe, but listen, the Knicks are
Rich Boy called him a traitor.
Because he was acting all hype, like, oh, I'm on the Knicks, like we out here. And then the moment he was able to get traded, he requested a trade to the Pacers. Like, no, like don't try to come back now that we winning.
Facts. You see a lot of people switching up now that the Knicks are actually doing good, and now they want to start talking about us in a positive light. Where was all that energy when we were trying to figure things out and get things together? You guys didn't show us any kind of compassion. You were still bashing us over the head. You were calling Knicks fans some of the worst fans because we don't ask for any change within the organization. And now all of a sudden, oh, the Knicks are good. Yeah, let's talk about them on ESPN. Oh, let's give them a major segment. Blah, blah, blah. Haters. Hey, Clutch, what's good?
Howard Prince said his concern is still with Boogie's attitude and the way that he messes with chemistry, locker room, coaching. I don't think he'll have that issue with us, only because, I don't think Tom Thibodeau is the kind of coach that's going to back down to a player. I feel like he's set in who he is, and he demands that respect from players. So I don't see Boogie's attitude. Plus, I don't think Boogie is the player he used to be when he had that. He don't have the skill to back up the taunting that he had before or the persona he had before. His skill ain't there no more. He got to humble himself.
Facts. I kind of feel bad for Boogie though. Boogie's story, the fact that he was, on the cusp of signing a major deal, getting injured, it's always terrible to see that because I might not like players on my team, but I still want them to go out and get the most money they can get from whoever's going to be the sucker to pay it to them. You feel me?
Yeah. And Jermaine Weather, Gorgie Dang, he signed with Spurs, so he's no longer an option. Bamboo Mizik. I don't know how I feel about him, to be honest. I've not seen anything that's made me like, oh, all right, yeah,
He's another plug and play like Nerlens Noel. He's just going to go out there, play defense. You don't have to give him the ball. He's not going to, you don't have to build an offense to suit him. He's just going to go out there. He's going to grab rebounds, and he's going to do putbacks. Nothing crazy. He's just a solid piece off the bench.
Got it. And then
facts. We don't need that Myers Leonard attention.
No, it's quiet for him.
OD quiet.
Yeah,
like Delano, thank you for pulling up. How's everything with you, bro?
And the thing about
Rich Boy, that's a good. I'm sorry, and Rich Boy, I forgot his name. I saw an article that the Knicks are looking at Pele or whatever his name is. That is true. I saw that same article. I think I wrote his name down somewhere. Yeah, let me Google that. And continue with what you was about to say.
And shout out Delano Steele, was good. No, I was gonna say the thing about Myers Leonard and why he's one player I don't feel bad for is because the word that he used, that's not even something that's in my regular vocabulary. That's not, and the way that he said it, that's the kind of word where you have to say something like that often for it to just roll off your tongue like that.
Yeah. I didn't even know. I didn't even know what it was. I've never even heard that word before. I was like,
exactly. What? So I'm like, you know what? I don't feel bad because clearly it's something that he uses regularly for him to just say it while playing games. I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. You did what you did, and it is what it is.
Norvell Peel, that's the player. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I heard about that earlier today too.
Yup. Thank you, Rich Boy. Appreciate you for bringing that up.
I think he's 7 feet though, right?
I had just saw that before I started getting ready for the stream, so I didn't get a chance to really research into him. He hasn't played much though. I think he's played 28 or 30 games in the league in total. He really hasn't played much.
No. And then Charmboy said Tyson Chandler. I looked him up before the live stream. He's still currently with Thunder. Not Thunder, Houston. If he gets a buyout,
they haven't cut him yet or buy him out yet.
nah.
Chandler would be a nice piece. I think Chandler's a good veteran. Chandler would have been good to help work with Mitch. But,
Yeah.
Mitch,
and he's just a straight up good defender. Like he'll just stand and he's a strong dude who you're not gonna just easily score on, And plus he has clearly championship experience. So when it comes playoff time, he can help some of us, stay in the right mindset.
Yep. And a Nudie 25 is saying bring up Scal. Yep, I talked about that a little bit earlier. We still have Scal in the G League, and we still have Festus Ezeli. If you guys aren't aware, Festus Ezeli previously played for the Warriors, had some injury concerns, and we have him in the G League as well. I think we signed him maybe like a month ago. That was like an under the radar signing.
Who?
I don't think too many people noticed that, the Festus Ezeli signing.
We signed him?
Yeah, he's on the Westchester Knicks.
Oh, Westchester.
Yeah. That was like I think most people don't even remember Festus.
Jermaine Wheeler says steal Jared Allen. I wish, yo. I wish.
You say Dutch B is saying hell no to Chandler. Is Chandler that much better than Taj Gibson? Even though Taj Gibson had a pretty good was decent enough yesterday. What?
I mean, like I said, Taj Gibson, when he's going against actual centers, I mean, he looks like a power forward out there. He looks small. He looks like offensive centers are scoring on him easily. Where I feel like if we had Tyson Chandler instead, he'd be able to actually be strong enough to stop these guys from backing him down. What's his name? Taj Gibson can't do that. He's just not strong enough.
Yeah, it's a very dry market, to be honest, when it comes to bigs.
Carlton said food. Yeah, that's it. Barbecue chicken. They just be backing them. Yo, it's sad.
Yeah. Rich Boy is confirming that Festus was on the Warriors championship team. I mean, he was good for them. He probably could serve the same role for us. It's just, can he come back from the injuries? But I like Scal. Scal's a young player. We should give him an opportunity. I think we should try to, now that some of the bigger names are already gone when it comes to bigs, I think we should give preference or give priority to some of our in-house options. Like, they're in the G League for a reason. Scal is an NBA player. It's not like Scal is a player that has no NBA experience. He was on the Kings for a stint. Let's see what he can do. He's just going to be playing in backup minutes. It should be all right. I don't see why we have to be at this point where it feels like we have nobody. The Knicks have options in the G League. Bring them up.
Nah, I mean, listen, we do. And if we can't bring our players from our own G League, then like what do we even have in the G League for? Are we really developing these?
Exactly.
It's about time. That way we could have like our own version of THT.
Well, what's that player over on the Nets? What's it, Claxton?
I don't know. I try not to pay attention to the Nets. I hate them. Every game for the rest of the season, man.
Why you hate the Nets?
Because they're just annoying. Like the way that players are just fiending to go there. Like, come on, relax, man. Just relax.
Roberto said you look like the Knicks GM.
Because I'm the one making these moves, man. Now, if I was, I'm telling you, if I was the Knicks GM, I promise you, Mitchell would not be on the team right now.
Yo,
I would have traded him. I would have traded him, especially knowing that teams was calling specifically about him. We would have either an additional first round pick and a solid player. Like I would have flipped him.
Yeah, Delano. Yep, Nicholas Claxton. I mean, to see what Harden is over there doing with Claxton, it kind of furthers the argument that we need a point guard to unlock Obi, because in games when Harden is playing, that Claxton dude looks like he's a starting caliber center, at least on offense with the pick and roll.
And you saw what he said about Harden, right? He was just like, "Yo, the game is easy when Harden's playing."
Facts.
But that's what we mean when we say certain NBA players makes their team better. When you can make your own name look like a starting caliber player, you are a player that makes your teammates better.
And Julius Randle has been doing a little bit of that, not in the same way that James Harden has, where James Harden is kind of orchestrating the offense as the point guard. But as the point forward, when teams try to adjust to stop Julius Randle, he's finding open teammates, and that's how he's making this team better. So I liken it similar to what James Harden is doing. But just the same quote Inf said, the same kind of principle that I'm kind of implying about. That's why we needed a point guard at the trade deadline. That's why I really wanted Lonzo, because the same way Claxton could say Harden makes the game easier for him is the same way I thought Lonzo could have made the game easier for Obi and a Mitch. Just simple getting your teammates the ball in the right spot and in the best positions to score. That's why we need a legit point guard. Things look so difficult for the Knicks sometimes on offense. Like RJ Barrett's getting a lot better, and RJ Barrett's one of those players where he can make the play on the offensive side of the ball look a lot easier. But outside of those, Randall and outside of Randall and RJ, and at times IQ, everything else is a struggle for those guys.
No, absolutely. And during the trade deadline, one of the under the radar trades was the Clippers getting Rondo. I'm like, yo, if I knew that Rondo was available, yes, he's a point guard who can't shoot, and clearly we hate those, but he is a point guard. Like, he is, all right, Obi's much better now. Knox is getting open now. Like, he is that point guard that could be a pure floor general, and he plays defense. Like, if we trade to get Rondo, like, that's our starting point guard right there. Like, no coming off the bench now. Start the game, and then we'll have, whoever come off the bench. But if I knew that Rondo was available, like, why did we not think to try to go for a Rondo when clearly what we need is a legitimate point guard who can run our offense for us? And he plays defense. Like, he's like the perfect point guard for Tibbs. Crazy.
He's also a little injury prone when it comes to Rondo. Also, yo, the chat is hilarious. And if you seeing this?
Yeah, listen, man. It's all about the
It looks like he just became a made man today. They go to a mafioso.
Listen, man. I got the little. Oh, no, I don't
Milano, you are right. You are not the only one annoyed by Harden's thirst for individual awards. Like, he be beasting. Like, he was coming at Giannis because Giannis won the award. Like, bro, you got one. Like, Kobe only got one. If Kobe ain't out here, Kobe wasn't out here wilding, trying to big up himself, trying to oversell individual awards. Relax, bro. You got one. You're part of a very small circle of NBA players that has MVP award. So chill. He be beasting.
Like, first off, I feel like if you're on a team with more than one superstar, you are no longer a candidate for MVP. You're not. Yeah, your team, you're not a candidate for MVP. You're not. I'm sorry, you're not. Westbrook didn't win it till Durant left. Like, Durant, he won it because, I mean, he was young and Westbrook wasn't an MVP candidate. Neither was Harden. Harden was a ghost in the playoffs. Like, listen, and Harden won it on the Rockets when it was just him. You're not going to win MVP like the same way LeBron shouldn't win MVP when Anthony Davis is on his team. If you can argue that two of the players on one team should be MVP, none of them should get it unless you're going to do like a co-MVP, which is ridiculous.
Two things. One, JD is hilarious. It says Inf looks like he nailed that interview, smiling. And also, while you were talking, we eclipsed the 100 in the chat mark. So I just want to do a quick applause to the chat. Thank you for holding us down. We appreciate it. I hope you can hear Can they hear the applause? I don't know. I hope they can. You can?
Yeah.
Good, because you guys deserve it. Thank you for holding us down. Greatly appreciated. Yeah. Let's see what's going on. And Westbrook was hurt when Durant got it.
Well, exactly. So Harden, he's no longer, in my mind, he's no longer MVP candidate. And then Big Boss Mr. Worldwide said Al Horford is no longer playing and he's going to be potentially traded in the offseason. I mean, I hope he gets a buyout. I hate his game.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade for him.
I'm not a fan of him. I hate his game, but if he gets a buyout, he's clearly a starting point guard. I mean, starting power forward / center. So it is what it is. I'd go for him. I just hate his game. Like, I hate watching him. I don't think he's as nice as people think he is. I think he's a good player, just not. I don't think he's $100 million contract player.
Facts.
When you
shout out to Locks of Judah. He's saying he was the 101 person in the chat. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button. If he's well dressed, he deserves every like he can get, right? Show him the Rolex.
They ain't ready for the bling, man. Oh, man.
Oh, good old Michael Kors.
What do you think about, Roberto said, what do you think about IT?
Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah. We don't need him. He don't play defense.
Pass on Isaiah Thomas. First of all, he's diminutive in size, so Tibbs ain't gonna like that when it comes to playing defense. And who knows what he still has available to him. When was the last time Isaiah Thomas has been in the league? It was like 3 years?
Probably. I don't know. He had that one good season.
Very rarely.
What was that?
Yeah, very rarely do you see a player that size be out of the league that long and get a second chance. Look at Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson been begging people to give him a job in forever. He's been begging so hard he got beat in the ring by one of them twins. What's them twins' names?
I don't know.
I have no idea what their names are.
Paul.
Paul. Yeah, one of the Paul what are their names? Yeah, the Paul brothers. We're gonna go with that.
Paul brothers.
IT is like 5'3".
I like Porter and Parker since Dieng is with the Spurs. Porter. Let me see. Damian Jones is available. I don't know nothing about him. I'm not even gonna pretend I do.
Oh, D. Burr said it's Jake Paul. I knew it was something like that. Aren't they supposed to have another fight? Ain't one of them fighting one of the UFC people?
Probably. And then Delano still said OKC confirmed they won't buy out Horford.
They won't? Oh, that's terrible then. Because there's no way I say trade for Horford's contract.
Absolutely not.
I don't know what Philly was thinking when they gave him that contract. That was crazy, right?
Yeah, they were smart to get rid of him.
Facts.
And yeah, with Philly, I don't like how you give Al Horford that money, but not Jimmy Butler. Like that made no sense.
They said they had like a little beef or something. I don't know what it was.
They just didn't offer him a max, but they offered J. Cole a max. Like that's crazy.
J. Cole?
Tobias Harris. Oh, I swear that is the NBA version of Cole.
Cole World. Oh,
Jonathan
JD
JD
Friday Night Lights. That's my mixtape right there.
Jonathan JD said, "What's your overall thoughts on the trade deadline activity? Happy, disappointed? What teams you think won?"
I'm kind of lukewarm. I felt like the Knicks, we could have made a move, probably should have made a move, but I'm glad we didn't do anything dumb. Like what I always say is, I'd rather them do a small move than do something extremely stupid and jeopardize their long-term flexibility as well as their draft capital. So the fact that we have all those intact moving on is fine by me. I came into this season not expecting us to be this much into a playoff race. So the fact that we're here is just ahead of schedule for me. And if we could have did something, it would have been icing on the cake. But I'm cool with them staying pat and chilling. That's fine by me. What about you, Inf? What you think?
With me, I agree. I'm fine that we didn't do anything crazy. We gave up players that we straight up don't play and got 2 second-round picks. One of them for this year, the other one I'm not sure. So all we did was add to our stock of draft picks, which is perfectly fine. It would have been nice to get, a decent player as well, like a starting caliber player. But I mean, we stuck with it. I'm surprised that we still have, Kevin Knox on our team, Frank Ntilikina. I'm surprised that these guys are still on our team, but it is what it is. And as for who won, I mean, like I said, in my opinion, it would definitely be the Clippers getting Rondo because they knew exactly what they needed and they got it. And they gave up Lou Williams for it. Like they did their thing. So I feel like
Lou Williams ain't the Lou Williams of old, so it wasn't nothing that big of a loss for them.
And shout out Joe Curry, new subscribers. Shout out. Shout out Vincent Edmondson. What's up? We need Whiteside. Yeah, he needs to get bought out first. And then
he's not making a lot though right now. I think he's on like a vet min. I think his contract. He's not making too crazy of a.
It's just the trade deadline's over, so the only way
to get you're right.
Bought out. Right. He's on the contract right now.
Anudi's brutal. He said nobody wants Frank or Kevin. How are you trading them?
I mean, people used to want Frank.
I don't know.
And
if people wanted Frank would have got traded. To be honest, if you ask me,
I don't know because Thibs likes him a defender, so I don't know. Thibs got a soft spot for him for some reason. And then Rich Boy said Denver did good also. I don't know.
Denver did good.
I don't see how Aaron Gordon translates to that team. I don't see it.
I mean, he's just gonna fill the same role Jeremy Grant left when he went to Detroit. just a little bit better defensively, maybe. Aaron Gordon, I think he's been killing from three too. I got to look up his exact stat, but I think he's been lights out from three. It'll be a nice fit over there. It'll be a nice fit.
Hopefully.
As long as they're able to move the ball, which I'm sure is going to be it's not going to be difficult with Jokic running things over there. It'll be pretty good.
I mean, I just need to see it to believe it. Kind of like I don't see like initially when the trade happened, I'm like, you went to a team that doesn't necessarily need you. So, I mean, because don't they have Paul Millsap at that exact position as well? Granted, Paul Millsap of like 5 years ago still, but I don't know.
Yeah, Gordon's a big upgrade over Paul Millsap at this point in their careers.
No, yeah.
Portland also made moves too.
What was that?
Portland, they also made a lot of moves too. They got not a lot, but they got Norman Powell.
Yeah, that was definitely a good pickup for them. What else did they get? That was it, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Also, Denver, they also got a JaVale McGee.
Oh yeah, but that's I don't know. Like I feel like he's a player that teams sign but don't play. You know,
like he's there for depth,
chilling. He's there for moral support.
What's called Michael Jones is saying Jordan did a great job with the Hornets. Yeah, they got a little bit of bad luck with LaMelo getting injured. Completely torpedoed my chances at fantasy.
Oh yeah, you tight. But no, yeah, that's
tight, bro.
Man, because he was clearly like they was clearly on their way to being, you know, a playoff team potentially.
Oh, I thought you was about to get crazy and say something like a championship contender. I bet you're slow, bro.
Absolutely not. Like no.
Calmate, tranquilo.
They're a good 5-6 pieces away from. I mean, a lot of teams are a good 5-6 pieces away from being contenders with the way that 4 teams are set up right now. You know, if you're not an LA team, the Nets, or potentially Miami, you're not really a playoff contender.
Yeah, Locks of Judah is saying the Bulls upgraded, but we can still beat them. I want to see how that fit is going to be, Zach LaVine and Vucevic. You got 2 good players, but will they fit? Do they have the point guard to really tie it all together? Because remember, they were trying to go after Lonzo, and I saw a tweet. Lonzo was still interested in the Bulls, so pay attention to that in the offseason.
I saw that he was mainly interested in the Knicks because of apparently he has a really close relationship with Julius Randle.
I saw that, and I saw another report that there's 2 teams that he's interested in the offseason. It's the Knicks and the Bulls. Why the Bulls? I have no idea. But I mean, was he really that close with Julius Randle? I don't know. I wasn't behind the scenes. We could just speculate.
Yeah. No, but apparently, like there's video footage of like when Julius Randle initially got traded from the Lakers. Like, I don't know if he teared or he was just down or sad or something like that. But he reacted in a negative way. He didn't like it.
Yeah, Cooley is saying Knicks cut Ferguson. Yep, they cut Ferguson. they traded for 2 players and 2 picks and cut the players.
Yeah, they just wanted to pick. And again, guys, now we have 3 roster spots available. So what we do with those, I mean, we just gotta wait and see. But
Boy is saying, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you was done off for him.
No, go.
Yeah, I was just saying, Boy is saying the Bulls don't have the money anymore to pay him. Well, they could always work out a sign and trade. And so as long as the money matches, they could still always add a player that way. It all depends on how their salary cap is gonna fall at during this offseason. I think they can still make a move.
I mean, remember, they got 2 All-Stars on the team, so I don't know. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, true. But then again, the Nets have 3 All-Stars on the team.
No, they got 3.
They all teams. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Ooh, I smacked myself.
But they already over the luxury tax. Like I mean, but they believe that their team is gonna win. So,
and Michael Jones made a good point. He said, if you're not way over the salary cap, you're not a true contender, and that's a fact.
Yeah, this day and age, basically.
Being under the cap, that means you don't have enough high value pieces on your roster usually, and you're not gonna really be a serious contender.
Or just your players are too young. Do you think?
I don't know. Go ahead.
No, do you think players would have wanted to go to the Hornets if LaMelo didn't injure his hand? Like, do you think Drummond would have potentially looked at that as a potential destination?
Because, the Hornets definitely needed a big. I don't know if Drummond would have went, though. Because when you look at Drummond, his options were L.A. and New York, apparently. I don't know if he wanted to decide to go live in Charlotte over those 2 locations.
Oh, yeah. True.
Especially if the money's the same. I mean, even though tax in LA and New York is crazy, but if the money's the same and you have the same opportunity to compete, me personally, I'd probably pick the big city like New York or LA. I like being able to walk down to the corner store and get something to drink real quick at like 2 a.m. I don't know where I'm gonna do that at Charlotte. 7-Eleven. I don't know what they got in Charlotte.
If it's a contract year, then I mean, yeah, you're gonna want wherever you get the most publicity as well.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, why is Drummond get a stupid contract in the offseason as if he's not basically already past his prime?
Yo, I'm gonna be interested to see because Stephon Bondi was talking some craziness, like the Knicks were gonna offer him 3 years, 14. I mean, 3 years, 15 million a year. I'm like, no, there's no need for that. We are flush with cap space next season. Let's work with our flexibility. If we need to trade for a bigger contract, we can use all that cap space to eat the salary.
Nah, yeah. The only player I want us to pursue is Lonzo, especially if he continues to evolve his game the way he has this year, become actually lethal from behind the arc. I'll take Lonzo, man. Knicks brass don't want to just throw money at players anymore. Finally, like, Bamboo, when was the last time you got to say something like that about the Knicks? Like, I feel like this is one of the first years ever.
Yeah. Carl Lemke is saying we got 3 good G League players who we can bring up. Yeah, I know. Well, who we have still down there? Powell's gone. We still have Scal. He's down there. Festus Ezeli I mentioned as well. Joe Curry is saying he wants Kawhi. I don't know about Kawhi.
Listen, Joe Curry, the only reason why I don't think Kawhi is even a viable option is because Thibs is not trying to hear none of that restings, like none of that taking games off, or that's not the player that coach that Thibs is. So Kawhi is not going to look
management
at the option. Yeah, that's the word. Load man. Kawhi's not going to look at us as an option as long as Thibs is our coach, because he knows Thibs will play him every game, at least 40 minutes. Ain't no way. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, facts. But if I'm going to have to end the stream there, my headphones are about to die.
Yeah, no problem.
Which is unfortunate. It just now told me, your headphones are critically low. On your business. Battery low. It just said it again. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Gonna have to wrap it up before I can no longer hear Inf. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. Greatly appreciate it. Inf, any closing words you want to say?
Yeah, just shout out Carlos Santiago. Definitely Cousins. Cousins. Hopefully we get Cousins. That's it.
Max, appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you subscribe. We go live when there's not a Knicks game at 8 or in the 8 o'clock hour. Thank you for pulling up. Smash that like button on your way to another channel to watch some more amazing Knicks content. Once again, I'm Quis. That's Inf over there, my co-host. This is the Knicks State of Mind podcast, and we're out. Once again, I don't got the cursor next to it, so now I got to scroll all the way over here just to end the stream.